the radio ether programs that I do, and I post those on Demonoid. And if and just talking into the mic, reading my poetry, this is really the only thing I understand. This is really the only thing that I really find myself comfortable with, and I'm good at it. I think I think I'm good at it. Let's who knows. So I want to read some poetry today for you, and you meet somebody. We've all met people, and we they change your life, for the good, for the bad, sometimes for the indifferent. Um, but let's focus on the good. They rock your world, and they take you out of your comfort zone. Maybe in my case, they break me out of my routine, so I don't feel as stable. I got this feeling, this gut feeling, this like I was kicked in the gut, and I'm having a hard time with that. But if I focus on the positive, and that I allowed somebody in, and that this other person let me in, that connection, that reality, it's everything. Dizzying beatific circles for Lambria. I want to hold your hand, like in the Beatles song. Lots of fizz, no pop. We stand together, or we stand divided. Either way, the sands of time will grind us into dust. Poetry is my savior, like a jail sentence gone awry. Jewish is the new orange, if you're into that sort of thing. And there's nothing wrong with religion if you're incapable of thinking for yourself. Believing in oneself is never overrated nor overestimated. I want to hold your gland. Just kidding, or am I? Sometimes the sillies get the best of my serious deportment. We built a fort from episodes of Bob's Burgers, Archer, apple juice, and pretzel rods. Blew each other's minds by being good to one another and never letting up on the throttle. Our intensities joined forces and whittled away the boredom and recklessness of a lifetime wasted on staying wasted and forestalling the inevitable. Let's see, when did I write that? I wrote that June 10th, 2017. This was written the next day. Vindicated. Vindicated. Nothing could be further from the truth. You're as guilty as Adam and Eve when they disobeyed their father's one command. You think you're pulling the wool over our sheep led to slaughter eyes, and that is simply not the case. You were elected president by a ghost in the machine and will never be popular with the people. You're fired. Drips from your rectum pie hole like bile from Linda Blair's possessed mouth. A rancid opportunist obstructing justice with the small hands of a filthy priest. Now you want us to believe you, when and if you testify under oath, and all I can say to that is, give me a fucking break. When's the last time you actually told the truth? Was it when you swore you didn't rape Ivana? Or perhaps it was when you feigned ignorance to the disappearance of Maria. You and your pampered, entitled, elitist family of half-wits are holding a gun to the head of America and doing your damnedest to wrestle us into the muck. You will not win. Point of no return. 6/12/2017. I wanted to stick it inside of you, but wasn't sure how you would feel about that. My words come back to me in waves of mediocrity, and I'm reminded of Paul Simon and how he's now retired from the music business. Sometimes I am a parser of words. Other times I'm just Charlie, and that's okay too. We break new ground when we step outside of our steam shovel heads and stop cowering in our comfort zones of disuse and unrhymed panty heists. I was writing about my bathroom habits when I was 26, and very little has changed 20, 30 plus years later. No one much pays it. Wait, I'm not that old. I'm aging myself right before my very eyes. No one pays attention, but that's par for the course when celebrity is neither your forte nor your expressed goal. I wanted to take a tour of America, but decided I would wait till the orange pig currently in the White House was either driven from office or tied to the mast and dumped in the sea. Welcome to the perfect storm that's now the United States of misery, where white people prove yet again how ineffectual they can be when they're thinking only of themselves, and the hemorrhoids resting atop their slouching towards Bethlehem shoulders. I've been a pissant since the day I was born, and that's all right. Because contemptible people are oftentimes the only ones actually speaking truth to power. Wanted to call you on the phone, but decided there was no point when we were already sitting across from one another. You bit into that corned beef sandwich like it was the best thing you've ever had in your mouth. And it made me jealous, and it made me want you even more. I will always tell the truth, whether under oath or not. That's just the way I've always rolled, and that will never change. Because truth will not fail you, nor will it take you for a ride. Calling out to you from the darkness. I wrote this April 10th, 2017. It's both light and dark here. The light takes on the characteristics of the dark and vice versa. It's the way things have been since God created man and man turned his back on the sun. We resist what we do not understand, and in due time that's all we'll have left, as another passion play is written in blood, and our hands are washed in chlorine gas and sniper fire. There is no good reason to fight against the ghosts in the machine, except that the ghosts today are not the same ghosts from yesterday. And when you say Macbeth in a theater, you better be ready for the roof to collapse in on you. I was just a lonely stagehand when I spied you up on that stage like a nightingale or a resistance fighter. The way you carry yourself will forever impress and impregnate the situation, with open-ended questions and mixed smoke signals. I desire to make love to you in the back lot of some nightscape we both know we're never going to escape from. As I enter you from behind, and you moan in ecstasy because everything will be as it should be until it's not, and we are blindfolded and we are executed for crimes against our vaulted psyches. You're the one I always imagined would come to me in the middle of my most prosaic and profound of night terrors. I was covered in sweat, and all you were draped in was a towel, and your very hot and rhapsodic skin. The darkness got in my eyes before I attempted to kiss your mouth one final time, before the curtain came down and another government's driven from power. Don't you believe it when they report on how smooth a transition is going, when nothing could be further from the truth, and our fractured democracy is down for a very long and torturous count? I'll never forget when you asked me to lick you from the inside out, and how the noises you made reminded me of when I was in the womb and taking cover was the only option left to re-examine. You're a child of God. You're a child of God. And together we make up a divinity, both divine and claustrophobic, in its unintended consequences and lost horizons. And I'll love you. I will love you until the end of time. '15th poem, Not Going No Place. And I wrote this April 5th, 2017. Not going no place because I love you. Happy or sad, my feelings laid down like cement. They stand the test of worn down time. Press down the keys on the Hammond B3 organ and music comes out. Press down the keys on you and all hell breaks loose, because that's just the kind of girl that you are. Picking up on your mojo from another state. When you smirk on cam, it reverberates through me like another earthquake in Oklahoma. Every move you make, my eyes follow, because ever since we met, I feel like I'm being held hostage. It's the 1970s, and another dog day afternoon breaks the speed of sound as Attica lights up the telepathic switchboard to our Declaration of Independence minds. I am scared of heights, but I will climb the palm trees if that's where all the best coconuts reside. I'm scared of you, but will climb on top if that is what you desire. I stopped trying to figure you out when the newspaper's ink stained my fingers the color of yellow journalism piss. And McCarthyism, fuck it, still very much exists in our government today. Just look at how they're treating Susan Rice again, when the story is not going their way, and they don't like getting backed into a corner. I'm so fucking tired of trying, but giving up is anything. Let me try that again. I am so tired of trying, but if giving up is anything like when my best friend put that noose around his neck, well then, no thanks. I'll stay right here, and I'll do my best to give some sort of a damn. She called herself a cam model, but to me, she's so much more, because I do not suffer fools gladly. And the connection I feel was not made up in some storybook. Not going any place, because I pray at some point she'll be comfortable enough to believe me when I say I truly do care about her, and that her reserved state is just one more moat I'll have to cross to reach the promised land. I wrote this October 13th, 2014. Take off the noose. Take off the noose and get comfortable. We may be here a while. I wish I understood why this poem is taking such a long time to write. First, there was a title. Then a couple days later, the first line spilled out. And now 2 more lines are making an appearance. I have learned you take what you can get. Sometimes all there is to eat is ramen noodles. Then maybe, if you're lucky, a nice roasted chicken. And if you're really blessed, some chocolate cake with a glass of vitamin D milk to wash it all down with. Inspiration comes and then is gone just as quick. Go to the hardware store, buy some nice new rope, so when you hang yourself, everything will go off without a hitch. I refuse to ignore whatever gifts I may have been imbued with. The other day, I thought about jumping in front of a train, but decided to put those plans on hold and to instead enter the magic theater, ready to experience the fantasies that exist in my mind. I believe I may be one of the suicides, quote unquote, and one of the immortals, quote unquote. Let's try that again. I believe I may be both one of the suicides and one of the immortals. And that is why I am having such a difficult time deciding what to do next. The poem was written May 18th, 2017. It's for Chris Cornell. People can snap apart like twigs. People can snap apart like twigs. It's the way the cookie crumbles. The way the star artist dies. Alone in a hotel room in Detroit. People's voices no longer reached him. He was floating out in space with no anchor to remind him of his frailties. It sucks when all the air is sucked from your body and your consciousness caves in on itself, like a condemned building or hostile takeover. We mustn't forget we're human to a fault. And when that fault's disconnected, all hell can and will break loose. In the eye of the storm, don't forget to look up for heavenly aid, because looking within doesn't always do the trick. What if he woke up in the middle of a night terror and realized that he was the enemy he'd been sleeping with this entire time? People can break apart too easily in a perfect storm. Thunder and lightning, the pyrotechnics we desire to separate us from the other animals in this suburban jungle of waste and squalor. Even superstars get tired and need to come down from the day-to-day, and sometimes the only way to do that is by altogether removing themselves from the game. Rest in peace, Chris Cornell. Juicy. I want a Baconator. I want it now. I want it in my mouth and all over my Jewish Sicilian lips. Your ass came out of virtually nowhere, like a ballistic missile shot from an underground bunker straight to my unexpecting heart. I love how you play it off like it's no big deal, when actually nothing could be further from the truth. We resist temptation or we don't. It's just that simple. And the older I get, the more I realize temptation may be the very last virtue we have left. I never much cared for owls. It's difficult caring about an animal who has eyes in the back of its head and is wiser than King Solomon on a tear. Your ass Lambria calls out to me like a collect call from a prison of the universal mind. I desire to break on through and cleanse the doors of perception by telling you anything and everything that's weighing me down and letting the chips fall where they may, even though you're fucking tired of hearing me complain. Of course, it's a dangerous proposition letting one's guard down, but it also gets mighty boring always staying above the fray and never getting one's hands and heart dirty. I want a Baconator. I want it like I want you on all fours, barking at the moon as I take you from the back like a miner mining for the bloodiest and most striking of diamonds. You told me a secret with your eyes that I kept to myself for as long as I possibly could, before spilling it upon this killing floor like music that must be shared with the world. Teacher for Abaya. Everything laid out before you like a catalog. That's what he said, then he was dead. Just like that. The electric bulb was extinguished, like death and taxes. There was no chorus. He was funny like that. And dreams will dismantle you. When least expected, everything went to fucking shit. From out of the blue, something hit me in the side of the head, like a bolt of lightning or fan mail from a stalker. Like a teacher, she brought the class to some kind of order. I learned stuff I never dreamt possible. My intensity, her kryptonite. Superman and Lois Lane. Absolute beginners, more pizzazz, less theatrics. I read too much into every stroke of the pen. My feelings a torrent of water parks and deserts. There's something for everyone. Until there isn't. Until there isn't. I'd like to read one more poem. This is entitled Debris, and it was written on April 30th, 2017. Actually, I'm going to read two more. Debris for Shiloh. Lost out here, amid the bubblegum wrappers and improvised explosive devices. Since 9/11, it's been our world because the terrorists won. Because, let me try this again. Lost out here amid the bubblegum wrappers and improvised explosive devices. Since 9/11, this has been our world because the terrorists won the very second we gave into fear. I'm not debating this. I have no conspiracy theories to offer. I just know things have changed, as even Canadians now lock their front doors and grizzly bears find themselves carrying a concealed weapon. hoping Shiloh will teach me what it means to be gender fluid, because I believe even this old dog can learn a few new tricks. I don't mean to say that gender fluidity is a trick, and I hope you'll accept my apology for my rough edges and the non-specific insults I toss out like baseballs at a home opener or meatballs rolling up another Sisyphus steep incline. You gotta watch out for those slippery slopes. Found somewhere out in left field. Discovered amidst the constipated intestines of another puffy rock and roller, hell-bent to live a clean life as their opioid addiction ends up stopping them in their purple tracks. Elvis was no better. As he sought absolution from one more crooked politician, as he went off the reservation and his handlers continued spoon-feeding him the obfuscated truth. I've fallen in love so many times with the idea of falling in love, I have lost count. The streak of possessiveness I lay down on this hyperbolic highway creates only misfortune and collateral damage where only chutes and ladders existed. I'm not much good at anyone. I'm not much good to anyone, and I am starting to question just what good all of this poetry will prove to be as I die with no one left to visit my grave. This last poem's for Lambria. I miss her. I know I have to stop that. This is entitled Rattling. Rattling these chains, nothing up my sleeves. I'm not a magician or a misanthrope, and neither are you. Smell the flowers on the way to the cemetery, on the way to work. Don't forget to bend down and inhale the pollen inside your cute and perfect nose. I know I was here before, but that was another age, when we were both in different places, and the masks we may have worn hadn't been sanded down yet by the clock and a refusal to ever grow up. Emancipation is key in these Abraham Lincoln times, when nothing is what it seems and too few speak from the heart. I was out on the outskirts of town, looking at an erupting volcano or two, when you came upon me like a rolling roller skate or slice of pizza topped with veggies and extra cheese. I've always had a problem hanging on too tight. I believe it goes back to abandonment issues when I was a kid, and the time I was sick in bed and left to my own devices, with a bowl of lukewarm chicken noodle soup and a remote in need of fresh batteries. I don't desire to own you, or even possess you in the least little bit. I just love when we spend time together, be it on the phone or, I hope, in person. I know we'll both be nervous, but nerves can be our friend if we just put our heads down and do the work. It's probably true that I am more into you than you are into me. Just look at you, all hot and spicy and ready to take a good pounding. Me? Yes. Yeah, I guess it's true. I'm a cool old dude. And I know. You said that with a smile on your profound lips and a twinkle, Lambria, in your revolving door eyes.